All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Thanks for coming. I'm going to review General Tito's book, The 12 Rules American Society Has for Black Men. Now, before we get into that, we got to kind of look at what has happened now, because it was supposed to just be a book review, but now it's turned into a mystery because Hardcore Tito is gone from online already. Like, I don't know how many times his channel's been deleted. It's ridiculous. And then Reg the bad guy saying Mumia Obsidian Ali is gone as well, which he's got this interview here, but his channel is gone. Ridiculous. Like, these guys aren't really saying anything outlandish. So we're going to get into the book. We're going to read the intro quote and then check out some of the chapters. Basically, the book is formatted in a sense the rules are kind of like a proposition that he's making, and then he goes into the chapter, explains the proposition, justifies the proposition, and then gives kind of like a format of what the problem is with this specific rule, and then how to either fix the rule or what will be the consequences of it continuing to be this way. So that's kind of like the format of the book. So let's check out this quote here. Okay. Come, let us do a thought experiment. Let us imagine that your house cat came into your room tomorrow morning. As you rose from your bed, your cat began to speak. Naturally, you'd be astonished, but over time, you'd get used to having a dialogue with your feline friend. Now suppose one day he adamantly demands a pair of silk pants. Of course, you would think that such a thing is absurd. You would reply to your cat that his demand is silly and refuse to give him silk or any other kind of pants. You would base your decision on the fact that you don't think that an inferior form of life needs to trouble himself with pants. You would then remind him that just because he has the power of speech now, that he still subjected to your authority. Well, black man, you are that cat. American society, and especially black women, are the owner. The silk pants represent true freedom and self-determination. We want our silk pants. Hardcore Tito, 2014. Right. So, got the different chapters or rules. The rules are the chapters. So, Rule 1 is the Agent Smith paradox. Rule 2 is any non-exploitative relationship a black man is in must be destroyed at all costs. Rule 3. The livelihood and property of black men must be under attack at all times. Rule 4. Any investigation of wrongdoing blaming a so-called black man is the path of least resistance. Rule 5. Any romantic relationship that a heterosexual black man is in must be subjected to the scrutiny of black women and American society for approval. Rule 6. Black fathers are to be prevented from providing leadership, mentorship, or stability to their sons. Rule 7. The viability of black fatherhood must be invalidated at all costs. Rule 8. Black men are to be slandered at all costs, regardless of empirical evidence to the contrary. Rule 9. The historic deeds of so-called black men must be hidden, minimized, or exchanged for fables about the exploits of a white man or black woman. Rule 10. The black man shall not be permitted to have self-esteem or exhibit ego. Rule 11. The so-called black man must make futile attempts to purchase his humanity through material largesse, accomplishments, and the appearance of outworking others on a lifelong basis. And Rule 12, the physicality of the so-called black man must be emphasized over all other qualities he may have. And then there's like a conclusion chapter. All right, I think I already went over the first two chapters. Okay, so I'm going to go to Rule 5. I think that's where it is, right? Any romantic relationship that a heterosexual black man is in must be subjected to the scrutiny of black women and American society for approval. Right? Then he just goes into a bunch of different kind of like paradoxes that are presented by people who are questioning the so-called black man's relationship. In respect to questions of nationality, even if an American black man should find a so-called black woman from another country, he will still be subjected to scrutiny and investigation by the community. They will again want to know why black, meaning black American, girls aren't good enough for him. They will accuse him of taking advantage of a woman from an impoverished nation because he's too broke to give an American black woman the lifestyle she deserves. Right? Then, here on page 58, he's going into some of the like contradictions of like beauty standards or whatever. If a black man has a non-black woman who is full-figured, the community will scoff at his relationship. They will say that the fact she is a plus-size woman is proof black men have to settle for less because no one wants them. However, if the same black man was to reject a large black woman, it would be because his penis is too small. He has Eurocentric beauty standards, or he's exhibiting misogynoir. Another bizarre line of reasoning is that if a black man does choose a fully black woman, or any race of woman, who happens to be of small stature, he will be slapped with allegations of having pedophilic tendencies, regardless of said woman's age. And he says, regarding income level, if a black man declines to be in a relationship with a black woman for any reason, and it is discovered that she makes more money than him, then he was intimidated by an independent black woman. If he's currently in any relationship with any woman who earns more than him, he's a bum, a leech. He's the bitch in the relationship, and he needs to do better. And he talks about the hair texture stuff. That's what it is. It does seem to be very important to black women. Like, it's like he's saying they're the only people that know like the hair scale that like beauticians use. Then, what chapter is this? Okay. Then, Rule 6. Black fathers are to be prevented from providing leadership, mentorship, or stability to their sons. Okay. See, this is something I was talking about before, and he makes the same point, where he says, why should Nike or Adidas profit from the talent, name, image, and likeness of the Ball brothers from shoe deals when they can enrich themselves by wearing their own shoes? In this society, it is perfectly fine for a non-black man to groom his son for success by teaching him a trade, making sure he receives further education, and using his connections to get his son employment. When a black man does it, it's nepotism. So then he goes into the proof by saying, during the 2025 NFL Draft, a controversy emerged. Shedeur Sanders, a quarterback out of the University of Colorado, was highly touted and speculated to be a first-round pick. His numbers definitely supported the possibility of being selected in the first 10 picks, but unfortunately the selection process didn't go as expected. Pick after pick was announced without Shedeur Sanders' name being called, to the shock of the sporting world. Finally, he was taken in the 5th round by Cleveland Browns, who had selected a quarterback in this year's draft already and previously traded for another. People were angry and divided over the national quarterback controversy. Some claimed racism while others pondered whether the league was punishing Shedeur Sanders for his father's NFL Hall of Fame cornerback Deion Sanders' personality. Both of these are possible. Then others claimed that the super talented quarterback was allowing to slide in the draft due to perceived meddling in the draft process by his father. If the latter rule is true, this is the ruthless application of Rule 6, because in 2004, when Eli Manning was going to be drafted by the San Diego Chargers, his father, Archie Manning, was allowed to directly and publicly interfere with the draft process. After conversations with Ryan Leaf's father about the Chargers organization, Archie Manning openly stated that his son didn't want to play for the Chargers. There was talk of Eli Manning sitting out of training camp. This prompted the Chargers to trade Manning for Phillip Rivers. When this was going on, there was very little discord, as the senior Manning was seen as protective and loving father, steering his young son's career path. So it's fine as long as a black man isn't doing it. Right? So he's basically saying the same thing that I was saying before. Like, where are all the people complaining about Trump, being a freaking, what's it called? Trust fund, whatever. I've never even seen a trust fund. Okay. So then, Rule 8. Black men are to be slandered at all costs, regardless of empirical evidence to the contrary. Okay, he says, black men are the most incarcerated demographic in the United States, yet and still, most black men will never be under any type of correctional control. There are 19.83 million black men in the United States, and there are around 740,000 black men who are currently incarcerated. These statistical truths directly contradict what people in America think about black men. To let most people here tell, going to prison is a rite of passage in black culture. Since the hate speech propaganda film Birth of a Nation, so-called black men have been depicted as shiftless and lazy. In hiring processes, members of other racial groups will use this cliche as an excuse to discriminate against black men. Even within the remnants of the black community, this fallacy is espoused. You will hear some black women declare that they want a black man with a job, as if gainful employment is somehow an anomaly among so-called black men. Visit nearly any online platform and see non-black people, mostly white men, revel in anti-black male hate speech surrounding an imaginary world where the only black men with jobs are on professional sports teams. While black men do have the highest rates of unemployment, This doesn't demonstrate laziness, especially when you compare statistics with other groups of men in America. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, white men have a civilian labor force participation rate of 68.2%, while black men are at 65.6%. If you rely on the stereotypes of white males being industrious, punctual, and reliable, but black males as shiftless and lazy, then why is the statistical gap not much wider than 3.4%? Right. Then he goes into the absentee black father, even though there's been experiments, or not experiments, but tests done, surveys, and shows that black men are the most involved parents. Okay. Then Rule 10. The black man shall not be permitted to have self-esteem or exhibit an ego. So then he goes to say, consider that while white men are showboating, black men are shucking and jiving. Even the greatest boxer of all time, Sugar Ray Robinson, had to act like he was grateful to white society in front of the cameras. If at any time he would have appeared overly impressed with his own God-given abilities, he would have been pilloried by the media in those days. This tamping down of black men's personality is not as rampant as it once was, but is still a modern-day practice. Then he goes on to say, you'll hear things like, it's a privilege to play in this league, even though less than 0.5% of humanity has the requisite skills to get there. And then this specific rule, where he's talking about the ramifications of not abandoning this rule. The ramifications of not abandoning Rule 10 is the continuous state of psychosis of many citizens of the society. Most people here live under the delusion that so-called black men are but subservient children who must remain silent no matter their degree of success or fame. Such entitlement leads to mental breakdowns of citizens of certain demographics when they see black men succeed in spite of adversity. There are even some extreme ideologies that say that black men are somehow coddled, making their accomplishments less worthy of recognition. As more black men prosper, many rank-and-file citizens will see their belief systems shattered, leading to a greater political divide. Some who are left jealous and appalled over the advancement of black men might even resort to violence. The way forward is to call out media personalities for the dissemination of anti-black male rhetoric and pressure advertisers to decline to patronize their networks. All right. So the last quote I got here is from Rule 11. The so-called black man must make futile attempts to purchase his humanity through material largesse, accomplishments, and the appearance of outworking others on a lifelong basis. So then, the ramification of not abandoning this rule and the way forward. The ramification of not abandoning Rule 11 will be the eventual formation of a counterculture by younger black men emphasizing minimalist living and non-participation in American society. This will have a dire effect on retail sales and the jobs market. Though Black American men represent around 5% of the American population, they exert a great deal of buying power in proportion to their number. The withdrawal of Black men from this society will have many unforeseen negative effects. The way forward is for American citizens to recognize the full humanity of so-called Black men. The obvious double standards must be eliminated. Black women must also take full accountability for their abetting in the societal demonization of Black men. All right, so he's got a bibliography back here too, as to where he got the photos in the book and all the historical facts. Let me see how many pages in this. It's like 4 pages of bibliography notes. So he's got all the stuff is referenced or whatever. So it's a book. It's a real book. It's actually a good read. The way that it's written is it flows very good, and you want to, once you get to the end of the chapter, you want to read the next chapter and stuff. And it's got some not big words, but some good words. It's got a lot of good words in here, and it's easily readable, but it's intellectual. It's definitely intellectual. It's definitely logical, and I'm pretty sure that Tito's more of a Republican than Democrat. So if you're into that type of stuff, I would definitely check out this book. I mean, even if you're not Black, you might relate to it, especially since Paul Proteus, said that, white men are now the new niggers. So you might relate to it a little bit too. But especially if you're Black, you will probably definitely relate to most of what's in this book. So that's it for the video. If anybody knows where Hardcore Tito is, send me a message or leave a message under the video or whatever, because it's kind of messed up. Where'd he go, man? Where'd he go? It's I just got the book a month or 2 ago. So that's it for the video. Thanks for watching if you did. Have a good day and peace. Oh yeah, and link to his book is in the description below. So peace.